Good evening, everyone. Welcome to District 63's Mentor Mondays. My name is Stephen Shaner, and I will be your host. We have a very special Mentor Monday this evening. Are you ready? I have my notebook, and I have a brand new pen fresh out of the package because I do not want to run out of ink tonight. We have a special guest that we've flown in through Zoom Airlines, and we're looking forward to seeing his presentation. Our speaker this evening is Lance Miller. He is a distinguished Toastmaster, has completed 35 Competent Communicators and 2 Advanced Communicator Gold Awards, and has held numerous officer positions at the club and district level. In 1999, he was instrumental in building his home club, Renaissance Speakers, to 95 members and earned the number 4 club ranking in Toastmasters International. That club has continued to be one of the top clubs in Toastmasters for the last 22 consecutive years. In 2005, Lance earned the title of Toastmasters World Champion of Public Speaking. Since then, he has dedicated himself to helping Toastmasters win with Toastmasters. Lance is a favorite speaker at Toastmasters conferences around the world and has helped over 80 districts build their clubs with club officer and leadership training. He has developed the Championship Club series of training materials to help Toastmasters, which include build their clubs, lead their clubs, promote and market their clubs, and keep members winning with effective speech evaluations. In this session, you will discover lessons and hard-won knowledge he has gained in developing his speaking and leadership skills through Toastmasters. With his session entitled, How to Promote and Market Your Club, please welcome distinguished Toastmaster and the 2005 World Champion of Public Speaking, Lance Miller.
Thank you, Stephen. Thank you very much. It's great to be back with District 63. I had a great trip to your conference a few years ago, and I grew up back in Indiana, Michigan, in the eastern area of the U.S., and I actually love the area that District 63 is in. I'm envious that you get to live there. I'm going to share with you today some of the things I've learned about running a Toastmasters club, and I have been running successful Toastmasters clubs for at least the last 25 years. The first few years, I didn't really run a successful Toastmasters club. I had to learn how to do that. But a lot of the stuff I go over is not in the manual. It is everything I'm going to talk about is things that I know work. And one of the things that I've seen happen in Toastmasters a lot, and here comes my disclaimer. Before I say anything, I'm going to give you my disclaimer. And I said there was going to be a disclaimer. I believe if we're going to get down and make anything happen, we have to have the correct diagnosis of what's going on. We have to be able to talk about the problems. We have to be able to talk openly about what's really happening. And just as an example, it was about 8 years ago, I went into the hospital with a severe right side pain, and they took my appendix out. And that wasn't the problem. Now, I don't know about you, I'm a little attached to my organs. So I don't like people yanking them out of my body just because they think that's what they should do. And I wound up with some other issues I had to handle. It turned out it was a spastic iliopsoas muscle, which maybe $30 worth of painkillers would have handled. And I would have let the thing relax and would have been okay. But anyway, that was a wrong diagnosis. It was a wrong problem. It caused a lot of other problems that I had to handle. So with that, I'm going to just tell you right up front, I don't pull my punches. I really call things as I see them. And there's a lot of things that I'm not totally aligned with Toastmasters International on. I think I may have possibly even been barred from speaking at the conference anymore because I have a tendency to just say, this is what's going on. This is what we need to do. The other thing is I'm not politically correct. So if that's a sensitive issue to you, go ahead and mute yourself or turn yourself off. But I'm going to just basically say things on what I feel I've seen work and what we need to do. And I'll be as candid as I can with you because I wish that's how people were with me when I first came into Toastmasters. Now, I used to go to a lot of the Toastmasters trainings, and I had people stand up in front of the room and tell me how to promote a club or how to do a different position. And later on, as we built our club, I discovered that those people had never, ever run a successful club. And what we have in Toastmasters, quite honestly, we have a lot of people that come in and they'll pick up a Toastmasters manual and they'll train you what's in the manual, but they themselves have never done it. Now, just as an example, I got my pilot's license when I was 19, and I was very grateful that the gentleman that taught me how to fly the airplane knew how to fly an airplane. so he could teach me competently from his skill on how to fly an airplane. And I like to say, if Toastmasters is a flight training school, we'd take two people that don't know how to fly an airplane, we put them in the airplane, and one of them would we give them a manual. One of them would go, okay, well, you be the pilot, I'll coach you. You do the takeoff, and I'll try to evaluate you with the manual. I think we'd have what we call a crash course in flying. So the first thing, what I was saying was, there were a lot of people that in Toastmasters that have gone up the leadership ranks in Toastmasters, all the way to international director, probably maybe higher than that, and have never ever really run a super successful Toastmasters club. I mean, they ran a Toastmasters club, but did they make the club work and consistently work? Do they know how to run a club and keep a club active, keep the membership active, bring in new members year after year after year? Because that's the type of people we actually need in Toastmasters. So what I see happening is we see a lot of programs coming out of Toastmasters International that are no way in line with what I know it takes to actually run a Toastmasters club. So the point I just want to say up front is I'm going to try to I got a short little period of time. I'm going to try to scream through a lot of information for you. Just to set the scene, what I'm going to talk to you about. As I said, I grew up in Indiana and Michigan, and one of the biggest things that happens in Indiana is the Indianapolis 500. And as a kid, I went out to that. My dad took me out to it 3 or 4 times, but WIBC out of Indianapolis was the main radio station I used to listen to. And they used to have the 30 Days of May, and they'd interview all the drivers, and they'd have all these stories about people in the Indy 500. And I was about 12 years old when I heard this story, and I do not remember who the driver was, but he was talking about he wanted to get into IndyCar racing, but he couldn't get into the circuit. And he had a friend who knew an owner of a car. And he said, come down to the pits, I'll get you in the car. So he talked to his buddy, and he says, yeah, let him drive the car. As the guy was getting in the car, he told him, listen, no matter what happens, just say it's not getting enough gas. And he said he took this Indy car out on the track, and he was scared to death to drive it because it was so powerful. And he went around fairly slowly, and the owner flagged him in, and he goes, what's wrong? And he goes, it's not getting enough gas. They pop the hood, and they adjust a bunch of these, get out there. And he takes it out for another lap. Same thing. They pull him in and go, what's going on? He goes, it's not getting enough gas. One more lap. They pull him in. He puts his driver in the car, and the guy goes out and laps at speed. He says, the owner looked at me and he goes, it's not getting enough gas. You're not giving it enough gas. And that, to me, is the answer to Toastmasters. Most of us do not give our club enough gas to make it successful. And we have the ability to make it successful, but the estimation of effort to make it successful is not correct. And I see people think that they can come sit in a Toastmasters club, show up once a week, and the club will organically grow. I've taken a club that we had 12 active members in. We had 35 on the roster, and the membership was going down each week. And we had one day 5 of us showed up. That was all that showed up. We had coffee, and we're trying to decide if they're going to keep the club or we're going to close it. And one of the guys said, well, if we're going to do this, let's win with Toastmasters. Let's go do something else and win with it. And I sort of augment that story saying we didn't want to run a hospice Toastmasters club. That's where you keep the members comfortable until the club dies, okay? And if you're in district management, you know exactly what I'm talking about. There's these clubs, you swear they're not going to make it for the next 6 months, and then they get this breath and they pay their dues and they stay on for another 6 months. We go, if we're going to do this, and somebody else in the meeting goes, hey, they rank us. This is back in the 90s. They ranked everybody internationally. They go, let's be a top 10 club. We go, cool. The 5 of us decided to be a top 10 club in Toastmasters. That was our goal. And we started working towards that. And it took us 5 years to build the club up to 95 members. And we're the number 4 club in Toastmasters in 1999, which was the last year they ranked clubs. And that is what built my club. And I'm a huge advocate of the old Distinguished Club program. I do not like the new one. I think it breeds mediocrity. You get to be President's Distinguished for having a failing club. That's like getting a gold medal in the Olympics for running a 30-minute mile. Okay, anybody can go out and do that. I think we need to have a world championship of leadership. I think the top 10 clubs in the world should be recognized and promoted as for what they're doing and really set the standard for what a great Toastmasters club is. Okay, that being said, the next thing I want to share with you is that your club is your club. Just because your club is a Toastmasters club under Toastmasters International does not mean your club's going to succeed. Your club will succeed wholly based on what you and your membership put into it. And if I were going to say anything about this, it's like you got your own Starbucks franchise or your own Subway sandwich shop franchise, and it's up to you to make that thing work. Now, Toastmasters gives you the manuals and stuff, but as I said, a lot of people in Toastmasters International have never even run a Toastmasters club. And so just because you're in that hierarchy doesn't mean your club's going to succeed. Your club will succeed if you take action to make it succeed. And the representation of your club is a representation of the cumulative leadership and drive that you and your members have. Now, years ago, and I'm not getting political on this, but Donald Trump had a show called The Apprentice. And they had different people come on and they would apprentice them and they would put them in different situations. They would see if they could actually make the business work. And I know one time they had to go out and start a street vending business and they had to figure out what they could do to be a successful street vendor. To me, Toastmasters is an example of an apprentice operation. You take a bunch of incompetent people that don't know how to speak or lead and put them in a club and say, build a successful club. Now, the mistake is to think that all the other clubs in Toastmasters know what they're doing. Which when I got into Toastmasters, I thought my club was the only one struggling. Then I went to the trainings and I met everybody and I said, everybody in this organization is confused on how to run a Toastmasters club. And the truth is, if we really nailed, as Toastmasters International, if we really nailed how to run a club, all the clubs would have over 20 members when it'd be successful. And to this day, and it's been this way for 30 years, ever since I've been in Toastmasters, the majority of the clubs in Toastmasters are under 20 members, and we still have not cracked that issue. But I'm going to tell you what I have seen in Toastmasters. There's 3 reasons clubs fail. Okay. The first reason is, it comes right back down to this whole thing. Nobody owns the club. Everybody joins a Toastmasters club that some way has an ownership to Toastmasters International, the district, but nobody says this is my club or this is our club and we're going to see that it succeeds. And that's where my club turned around. 5 of us decided to own the club, and then we built it from there, and we now have 25 people that own the club. And just with that, Toastmasters clubs are allowed to fail. They don't fail on their own. They're allowed to fail. The members allow them to fail is what happens. The second reason that clubs fail is that you don't get the membership to do the program. Now, just as an example, I had a friend who was trying to lose 50 pounds about 5 or 6 years ago, and he joined Weight Watchers. And after 6 months, he hadn't lost any weight. I saw him about 3 months ago, and he lost the 50 pounds. I said, what did you do? He goes, I joined Weight Watchers. I said, I thought that didn't work. He goes, no, this time I did the program. He used to go for the weigh-ins, okay? And now he actually did the program, followed the protocols they had, and he lost his weight. Well, the same thing is true with Toastmasters. Back when we had the CC, I would see people take 3 or 4 years to do their CC. In my club, I did 3 or 4 speaking education completions a year. Okay, so you do the program, you get your members to move through the program. Now we have pathways. We're not going to get into pathways, but we have pathways. That's a program we have. So you get people to do the program and you get them to frequently do it. Now, the program consists primarily of 4 areas of development. The first area, 25% of our program, is learning how to speak. The next area is learning how to listen and be a coach or evaluator. In my club, we don't call it evaluation. We call it coaching, because the reason nobody hires a speech evaluator, they hire a speaking coach. So you want to get better. That's the whole concept of it. So that starts with being an all-counter. It starts with being a grammarian. It starts with being a timer. You learn to listen, you learn to observe, and then you can start to learn to give feedback. Giving feedback is effective feedback is one of the most critical skills I've learned in Toastmasters that I apply in life. Okay, so that's the second area. And I can go in to do a deep dive on this. I want to get into how to promote and market, but I want to give you this base. The third area is effective meeting management. And that starts with being the table topics master, then you're the general evaluator, then you're the Toastmaster. You run how to run an effective meeting. I use that every day in my life and business. The fourth area of development is the leadership development by being a club officer. And there you get to run an organization that's comprised of a bunch of incompetent people for a year. Welcome to planet Earth, life in the business world. Okay. So the skills I learned from being an officer and getting my club to work, I apply in business every single day, because I used to think I had these crazy personalities in Toastmasters, and I go, where did we find this person? And I would learn how to work with them and learn how to inspire them, learn how to motivate them, to get them to complete their speaking level for the year. And then I'd be at some job, or I'd have a go see a customer or something like that, and I'd have that same personality that I had to deal with outside of Toastmasters. And I remember I just get the smile on my face and I go, I know how to work with you because there was someone like you in my Toastmasters club. And that's the beauty of Toastmasters. It's a great place to get our feet on the ground, to make our mistakes, to figure out our own leadership skills. And so I consider Toastmasters a complete apprentice program. And I want to tell you right up front, the way to run a Toastmasters program is not nailed down by anybody. You've got to figure it out for yourself. You've got to try things. You got to figure out what the unique mix of personalities in your club, what the culture, the area of the country you're in, the area of the city you're in, the time you meet, who are you attracted to? And it's just like you're on The Apprentice, and you got to figure out how to make your business operation work. And that was the big shift we had. I was in one of the worst districts in Toastmasters when we decided to build our club, and we did not look to the district to show us how to do it. The district leadership we had to have an intervention by Toastmasters International. They had to come in and take the top 3 out and bring 3 more people in because nobody wanted to hang out with the district leaders. It was a bottom feeding frenzy in the district. So anyway, we didn't look to the district. We figured it out for ourselves. Okay. So those are the third reason that fails is they don't promote. Okay. Nobody owns the club. You don't do the program and you don't promote. I didn't say you didn't promote effectively. I said you didn't promote, because the fact is everybody in Toastmasters, everybody in the world practically, let's say 80% of the people in the world, that's a pretty good population, need Toastmaster skills. And if we just talk to people and we do it consistently, we will get people in our club, but people don't promote the club. Okay, I'm going to share the screen here for a second and put a PowerPoint up that I have and walk you through some points on how to promote and market a club. It's a little bit of an older PowerPoint, but I've been using it for years. And again, I get TI going, can't you put the new banner on it? Well, I happen to like the old banner. So as my grandmother said, you can say anything about anybody as long as you end it with God bless them. Okay. It just makes everything good. So God bless me. Okay. So let's start this off. The first thing you build your club is you have to have a dynamic club experience. You can't attract new members into a failing bad club meeting. You have to have something worth joining. And the simplicity of that is if you went to a new restaurant you'd never been to before, and the food was bad, the dishes were dirty, and the service is slow, are you going to go back to that restaurant? No. So you have to create something that people want to join. And that's the first thing to start building your club. Now, I'm going to walk down through some real quick action items here that I put together that I see. Come on, where's my arrow? That I see. Okay. There we go. So the first thing is you have to have a decent venue. I've seen Toastmasters meetings in horrible venues, basements of churches and boiler rooms and back rooms and restaurants that there was not enough space between the chairs to walk to the front of the room. We're meeting virtually now, but that still means you have to have a good virtual setting that you need. You need to make sure that you are enthusiastically welcoming and recognizing your guests. You make it fun for them. You have to maintain a fun, friendly environment. When my club was failing, the 5 of us that met for coffee split up the club members and called each one and said, what did you like about coming to the meeting? We didn't say, why are you not coming to the meeting? We said, what did you like about coming to the meeting? They said, I like having fun. I like seeing my friends. Those were the 2 reasons. The third reason was they liked the improvement they got through Toastmasters. We immediately saw why our club was failing. We had stopped being a fun, friendly club. That's a whole other story. Bring me back some night. I'll tell you about that. But we had 2 presidents in a row that were not fun and friendly. Meetings start, run, and end on time. Okay? The reason they start, run, and end on time is because you're organized. you have everything set up to run the meeting. I will just tell you this: strong clubs start, run, and end on time. Failing clubs start late, do not run on time. They waste the members' time at the meeting, and they run late ending. The speeches are completed per the Toastmasters manual, in this case per the Pathways program. You do not have speaking that is not involved in the Toastmasters criteria education program. If that's the case, go speak at Rotary, go to the Chamber of Commerce, go out and speak professionally. You don't come to Toastmasters and just do speeches. You're always working on a skill set. Same thing with your evaluation is completed per now the Pathways program. Okay, the second action to create to attract members is to have winning members in your club. Now, what I mean by that is that people are actually enthusiastic and excited about the club, and they have what I call the twinkle in the eye. Okay, they're proud of their club. Their life has changed because of their experience in Toastmasters. And there's an energy that happens when that occurs. If you come to a meeting and you have a bunch of apathetic, deadbeat people sitting there who are there because they joined the club and they're obligated to be there, and this isn't the case in most Toastmasters clubs, I know that, but I just want to say the winning member attitude is something that attracts people in. There's an enthusiasm for the club. And that when our members started winning, because we got them to start increasing we got them to do the program, they started winning because they were doing the program. They started bringing their friends because they were winning. When they weren't winning, they didn't bring their friends to the club. Very simple concept there. Okay, moving along. The officers involved in building your membership. A lot of the conferences I do live, I'll ask people, what are the officers who's responsible for getting guests to the meeting? Most Toastmasters say the VP of membership is. The Vice President of Public Relations has the relationship with the public, and we're going to be talking about that. I delivered this presentation to Dan Rex and Sally Newhall-Cohen at Toastmasters International, the two top executives, and Sally said, this is a wrong title. The title should be the Vice President of Promotion and Marketing. And that really gives the responsibility for what the person does. They promote and market the club. Now, I'd already come out with my CD, my training program on how to promote and market a club, but that is really the truth. So the way you judge, the way in my club, we look at the Vice President of Public Relations, they are responsible for getting guests to come to the meeting. I don't care what they do. They can stand on the sidewalk and hand out $1 bills for people to walk into the club. They get guests to arrive. They run programs to get guests to arrive. And then the VP of membership is responsible for signing those guests up as members. These two officers need to work very closely together. Now, the Vice President, we're going to get into the VP of Public Relations here in just a second and how to promote to get guests to come to your meeting. But they don't have to personally get all the guests to come. They get the membership. They put programs in, they get the membership to get the guests to come. That's what they do. But their responsibility as an executive is to promote and market the club, to make it known so that guests show up. It does no good to put out newsletters and press releases for the sake of newsletters and press releases. It does no good to have a social media program for the sake of social media unless you are getting new members coming to your club. That's the reason for those actions. Okay, moving along here, Marketing 101. There's two ways when you market new products. You have a trial marketing program to get people to try your product, and then you have a repeat marketing program to get people that use your product to continue to use it. So the reason I go over this is the whole game of getting new members is to get people to try Toastmasters. They don't know what it is. There are all sorts of people that I've talked to, they don't know what it is. And again, live conferences, I'll say, if you knew what Toastmasters was, would you have joined earlier? And almost all the hands go up. If people go, if I knew what it was, I would have gotten involved in the organization earlier. Now, this is just like when you go to the supermarket and you're pushing your cart through the supermarket and they've got the little stand up when they're giving you a taste of the new sausage or the new baked beans or something, you know, they're scooping ice cream, something like that. They're letting you try the product so you can taste it. We want to create programs so we get people to come take a taste of Toastmasters and they can see if they like it. Now, if they're like me, they go to the supermarket and they eat lunch every day and they taste all the goodies. And every now and then I'll get something, I'll go, Oh, that was really good. Well, I have to taste it 3 or 4 times before I go buy it, just because I'm a stubborn type A male personality. Okay. So there are people that have to come to Toastmasters and taste it 4 or 5, 6 times before they're going to sign up as a member. Good. Keep creating opportunities for them to just come touch Toastmasters. Just come experience, just come and experience it. And they'll start to see how the program works and get involved in it. Now, moving along, I got 6 ways that I've set up. And this was when we were meeting. They will still work in a virtual environment. And I just want to say, since we've moved to a virtual club, and we will be hybrid when we get reestablished once this crazy COVID thing is over, is we have members now from Florida. We're in LA. I'm in LA. We have members from Florida, several members, 6 members from Florida. We got 2 in New York. I got a member from Denver. I got 2 in Dallas. I got 1 in San Diego and 1 in Bahrain in the Middle East. To me, a virtual club is easier to get guests to and easier to get membership than a traditional club, because you don't have to get in your car and drive downtown and park the car and take time out and walk in. You can just plug into your computer and plug out very easily. I think we should be building membership like crazy. We've got 9 new members in my club this year, but of course I'm the vice president of vice president of membership. So what do you expect? But no, we have a good visitor flow coming, and we've got 9 new members so far this year. And also, we don't have 35. I mean, we don't have 95 people in my club right now. I think we have about 35 in it. We were up over 80 up to about 2006 or 7, and then we weren't getting rewarded for keeping a club. We didn't have a game to play to do that. So the club has its own life, and we're down around, like I said, 30, 35 members is usually where we are. We're trying to get it back up to between 40 and 50 is where we like to keep it. Okay, promotional actions. The first thing is hang out a sign. What I mean by that, if we're meeting in a room, there's a lot of people that don't even hang a sign out and say we're meeting in Toastmasters. Website, social media, put notices on Meetup, send things out in email, let people know you're meeting. That's the first thing, just we're having a meeting. Okay, now in the virtual world, I said we've got some social media we can put up. If you're meeting in a location, I say get a sandwich board, put it on the street. If you're meeting in an office building, stick an 8.5 by 11 flyer up in the elevator. Okay, 2 hours before your meeting, Toastmasters meeting today at noon in such and such conference room. If it was me, I'd go around to the restrooms in every single floor and I'd put it on the back of the door stall. So if everybody goes to the bathroom, they got to read my flyer. Okay, that's what I'm saying. Think out of the box. Own promoting that club, and you'll start to see members coming into the club. And I can talk, I can go into this a lot. Okay, we send out 2 emails a week. The first email is about the meeting coming up, and the second email is a recap of the meeting. Who spoke, some quotes from them, and every guest who ever comes to our meeting is on our email list. Okay, we do not take people off our email list unless they ask. And to that point, we had a lady that came back 12 years after she was a guest. She wanted to join the club. She sent 2 kids through high school. When her youngest son graduated, she came back and joined the club. And her statement was, I've been getting your emails. So you never know when somebody's going to need Toastmasters. Second action I recommend is what we call card and flyer distribution. We make a 4x6 card. We found that to be the most effective promotional piece. If you have an 8.5 by 8.5 piece of paper, it's really easy to throw it away. And if you have a business card, sometimes it's so small that people will actually toss it. But the 4x6 card we found to be very good. We can put a lot of information on it. There's a couple places that I recommend distributing this. One is the geographic area around your club. Let's just say you meet in a downtown area and there's stores all up and down the street. Let's say a block around your club. I would take a stack of those every 2 months, walk around and talk to the store owners and say, if you have any employees that need a communication leadership program, we have a Toastmasters club that meets over here on Wednesday night at 7 o'clock. They're welcome to come. And do that on a regular basis so that they know you're there, you're consistently there, and you start to build some relationships with them. If you know anything about promotion, very few people respond to the first piece of promotion they get. It usually takes 6 to 8 pieces of promotion before somebody starts responding. So you just keep canvassing your geographic area. If you're in a high rise, I would go to every single office in the high rise. If you're in a skyscraper or something like that, an office building, I go to every office and hand out cards. Could you pass these out to your employees, talk to the manager, just say, hey, we have this program. If any of your employees are interested in developing their communication leadership skills, they can come down and join us. One of the things I talk about is if you have a supermarket down the street, and I go, who in a supermarket needs Toastmaster skills? And the audience usually goes, the manager, the cashier, the butcher. I go, yeah, I'm looking for a specific person. And the person I'm looking for is the stock boy. Why does the stock boy need Toastmaster skills? He's just putting cans on the shelf. Well, the reason he needs Toastmaster skills is he doesn't want to be a stock boy the rest of his life. And if he can afford college, he'd be in college. But he can afford to be a Toastmaster. And that's going to change his life. He's going to develop the soft skills to promote himself in life. He's going to know how to answer questions to the lady that comes down the aisle and wants to know where the cornflakes are. And he's going to be able to start running meetings well. He's going to start to get more self-confidence. That's what Toastmasters gives him. Go to McDonald's and recruit the cashiers at McDonald's. Who wants to be a cashier at McDonald's the rest of their life? The other thing is we promote this to our friends and coworkers. Every time we do a survey of our membership, which we do about twice every 2 years, 80% of our membership comes from personal invitations from people in the club. That's how I got in the club. And so we have something you can hand to somebody to come to the club. Okay, the next area is what I call special meetings or speakers. Instead of inviting someone to the meeting, we have a meeting every week. Would you come to one of our meetings? Have a special meeting that you have to get. This is the meeting you sell. We want you to come to the meeting. Now, as an example, if you had Elon Musk speaking at your club, do you think you could get some guests to come listen to Elon Musk? Yeah, I think so. That's why you sell the sizzle of the special meeting. And what I'm going to recommend is you have a special meeting every other month, 6 special meetings a year. Now, I'm going fast through this, okay? But here's some meeting topics for you. First of all, you can talk about networking skills. You can talk about a special meeting on how to do speaker introductions, how to handle the lectern, how to do effective PowerPoint presentations. You can talk about how to create an elevator pitch, where you tell somebody, what you do in 15 seconds. How to prepare a speech, opening, body, conclusion. People don't know this stuff. This is just how to think on your feet. We're going to have a whole section on impromptu speaking and how to think on your feet if you could ask a question, how not to choke. Show a video of the World Championship, the top 3 speakers in the world. Show a video of that. We're going to, that's something you could invite people to and they would come to your meeting to see it. I can't believe how many people show up at my club for club speech contest. We're having a contest. People would like to come see what that's like. The other thing is, as far as guest speakers, all of the winners of the 4 Toastmaster competition for the district level could be invited to your club to do a special presentation. That would help them. It would give them the prestige of having won that competition. Clubs are reaching out to have them come talk to them about how they won the humorous contest or how to do speech evaluation. You can invite people because this is the district winner of the international speech competition. This is something you can promote. I'm sure you probably have some accredited speakers around you can invite, district speakers. And as a world champion speaker, I do club presentations, I do club meetings, but the club has to put on a special event for me. I get the entire event and they have to invite all the Toastmasters in the area and they have to invite the public to it. Because if they're going to put on an event, I want them to earn getting a world champion to come to the event. And I want them to build their club and to get more members. I'm just going to snap through. These are some events I've done. I don't have time to get into them this evening, but I've done a lot of different events. I have stories behind each one. The next one, number 4, is parties and events outside the club. What happened in my club is we would have a Halloween party or a Christmas party or a 4th of July party, and we'd invite our friends. And every time that happened, our friends would come to our Toastmasters meeting because they met all these wonderful people at the party. Now, here's the simplicity. People don't know what Toastmasters is, but they know what Halloween is. They know what the Super Bowl is. So you invite them to something, they know what it is, and then maybe you play some table topics, or maybe you have somebody give a speech, or maybe, like I say, you have a wine and cheese party. They come drink your wine and eat your cheese, and you learn how to speak after drinking. It's a very important skill to develop in life, okay? But Now you've obligated the person because they came and they ate your cheese and they drank your wine. And then you say, we'd like you to come as a guest to our Toastmasters Club. And they met the people and they feel a little obligated now. They don't know what Toastmasters is, but by golly, they know what wine and cheese is, and they'll come to that party. So I recommend one of these every other month on the month you don't have your special meeting in the club. So every month you're having a special event. On each one of those, you should be able to get one member out of just those 2 points. The fifth point, oh, here's a bunch of, I'm going to walk through this: 4th of July, Labor Day, Halloween, Thanksgiving, Christmas, New Year's, Super Bowl, St. Patty's Day, Kentucky Derby, Memorial Day, wine and cheese, cookies. Those are all the different events you can have for your club. Each one of those is worthy of an event. Speechcraft trainings. Speechcraft's almost disappeared. And it's a shame because it's a fantastic program. We have 2 programs that can build your club if we did. And I think every Toastmasters club, to get any status at all, should be required to do 2 outside events a year, either 2 Speechcrafts or 2 youth leaderships or 1 of each. We should go out and build a better community. We used to do 3 Speechcraft trainings a year. And this was the first 6 speeches in the Competent Communicator Manual. It was usually a 6-week program. There were people that were either afraid to join the club or they didn't want to commit to the club, but they wanted to do a speaking program. So we would usually have 6 to 8 people in our Speechcraft trainings, and we usually got 2 to 3 new members out of each one of them. So Speechcraft trainings are a great way to promote things, especially if you're working with like a Chamber of Commerce, or maybe you have a, I don't know, a Salvation Army close by, or you've got a Goodwill program or something. You've got, some program close by. You offer it. We have I don't know what we're doing with it. I think we have a relationship with Rotary. I'm in Rotary. I think they're trying to get Rotary to do pathways. But anyway, you could talk to your Rotary district and give a Speechcraft to the Rotary district to help the presidents of those clubs run meetings. And then you'll get members out of that. Speechcraft training. The last thing is you can go out and speak to outside groups. Rotary, Kiwanis, Lions Club, Optimus, Sir Optimus, Moose, and Chamber of Commerce. I used to laugh at the Moose Club. You know how many Moose Clubs there are in the United States? Just over 15,000. There's 16,000 or 18,000 Toastmasters clubs. They're a little bit smaller than Toastmasters. There's a lot of Moose Clubs out there. But anyway, every week these organizations need speakers. And if you send a good speaker out, don't send a bad speaker out, send good speakers out. There's all sorts of stuff that they can do, they can speak on. Just as an example, I'll go back to that. They can go out and speak on topics. I go out and speak on non-Toastmaster topics, but I'm introduced as a Toastmaster world champion. I get people, every time I go speak at a community group, I get people asking me how to get involved in Toastmasters. Okay. You can go out and do how to do a speech, how to do an elevator pitch. You can go out and talk about, what was the program? Oh, speaking impromptu, get everybody to ask them questions and have them stand up and speak for, a table topics, and teach what you teach in Toastmasters to those groups. And you will get members in your club. Okay, let's do this. Put a sign out. Let them know you're meeting. Distribute cards and flyers to your local areas and your local friends. Every other month, have a special meeting inside the club. Every other month, have a special meeting, party outside the club. I don't care. Meet at a bar and drink beer and eat peanut shells. Throw peanut shells on the floor. I don't care what you do. Have a Speechcraft twice a year and go out and speak to the community. If you do 2 of those, you'll get a member a month. And if you get 12 new members a year, then what you do, you create a program together. Okay. You sit down and you fill out what dates you're going to do your card and flyer distribution. You put a spreadsheet together for every month, and then you fill in what months, back that up. You fill in when you're going to do it. And then you have your plan for the year. Okay. And then after you put the plan together, you just execute the plan. And so the last question and then see, you start to divide the plan up between the different Toastmaster members in your club, and they all get district credit for their Toastmaster projects. And this was designed back when we had the Competent Leader program, we had the CC manual, and Pathways is not aligned with that program, but it still will align with the Pathways program. We just have to work it out. And then just decide where you want to be a year from now, because it's going to take probably it took us 2 years to turn our club around when we were squeezing the club. Then once we got it turned around, it started to take off like crazy. Okay, well, that took a little longer than I wanted it to, but I hope you got something out of it. And I'm happy to take questions right now if somebody wants to field some questions. And just so you know, I appreciate you listening to me. I flew through that just the amount of time I had, but I wanted to share that information with you.
Lance, real quick, I have a question for you.
Sure.
Some of these things that, I've gone into clubs, struggling clubs and made some of these recommendations. And I almost always hear, well, we tried that and it didn't work.
All right, good. We tried that. It didn't work. It's their responsibility to build their club. Find something that works. You know how many things we tried and it didn't work? The other thing is because you tried it once and you didn't work, why didn't it work? Did it work because you got some, let's say you got some flyers, we're passing around the neighborhood. What'd you do? I walked in and laid them on the table and walked out. Did I talk to the person? Did I actually talk to the store owner and say, we have this program? Is that what I did? Because one of the things we don't get into in Toastmasters is what is your intention, your interest, and your drive to make a successful club? When I came into Toastmasters, I wanted to know how to run organizations. I wanted to be more successful in life than I was being. And I looked at it and I said, if I can't do it in Toastmasters, I can't do it in life because it's easier in Toastmasters. And it's true. I've done 5 business startups. I've done a half a dozen turnarounds. I've got a management group now that we've got 6 projects on our plate to bring products out. And the skills I learned, I perfected in Toastmasters, but it takes a personal initiative, drive, intention, interest. It takes what I call our life force, our life energy, but wanting to do this. And Stephen, I'm not beating up on you, and I don't want anybody to feel like I'm beating up on them. I just happen to be passionate about this point. If you're going to be successful in life, it takes energy being put into life. And my answer to those people would be, okay, it didn't work. I got a deal for you. I will give your club $1 million if you get 10 members in this week. You can divide it up however you want. Do you think they get off their ass and get some members in if they've got $1 million? Yeah, they get off their ass and they'd figure out how to get some members in that club because they now had the incentive. They had the drive to do it. We wanted to build a top 10 club. That was our game. That was our drive. And that's like I said, I'm not happy with TI because they've made this sort of milk toasty, warm, presence distinguished with 10 points and everybody gets a blue ribbon for running a 30-minute mile program. I think we need to reward excellence. So my game would be, I want to be the best club in the district. And that's what we push for every year. We want to be the best club in the district. We want to have more educational completions in the district than any other club. Okay. And so that's what drives it. But if it didn't work, great. It didn't work. What are you going to do? Sit there on your ass and be a loser and go, oh, we tried that. It didn't work. Well, that's how the club's going to fail because you did that. Great. Let's figure out what will work or figure out why that didn't work. Now, I wouldn't talk to them that harshly. You got to build them up. If their attitude's that they're in an apathetic viewpoint on life, you got to breathe some life into them, okay, and get them to do something that would work. But if they do something, they will get membership in. But they have to do it.
Okay, thank you. That's the answer I was expecting and wanted to hear. Thank you, Dean. Looks like you have a question.
First, I want to say thank you so much for being here today. It was a great job. It was phenomenal. I really did enjoy everything you brought up, and I like the fresh perspective that you have because I think that's so critical for us as we look forward to what we're trying to do and how we're going to accomplish it. I had to ask the question of, do you think that the calendar is the most important planning tool that you have? Is that the place to start? Because I think personally, my opinion is yes, but I'd like to hear what you have to say about it.
The whole thing, I mean, we all heard it, failing to plan is planning to fail. One of the things that made my club successful is we sit down in July and we go to every member and say, what are you going to accomplish this year? And what education completions are you going to accomplish? And we know in July how many education completions we're going to get for the year. And then we schedule out those speakers throughout the year to make sure that they are going to get their educational completions done. And when we were back at 90 plus members, we put on a vice president of production and had a vice president of education because it was too much work for one person to do. But yeah, I think the calendar is critical because otherwise you get caught in what I call the Toastmasters time continuum, where you just sort of live week to week and you don't realize you're passing through the months. You're just in this circular squirrel cage of every Tuesday we meet, and we're just looking at next Tuesday, next Tuesday, next Tuesday. Next thing you know, you don't get anything accomplished. You need to put that calendar out and have hard dates that you're going to do things, assign them to members, and then that's their project, and then things start to happen.
All right, Jason, you have a question?
Yes, hi. Lance, great speech tonight. Thanks for speaking to us. My question pertains to the community clubs. I'm actually in Rotary and I'm trying to work with them, and some other people on this call are trying to do similar outreach to get more interest and gain more members. But if you're in trying to reach out to a club that you're not a part of or you don't know anybody, sometimes it can be hard or intimidating to do that. And what advice would you maybe give as far as how to maybe get the foot in the door to reach out to the Kiwanis or the Lions or some new group, perhaps some new opportunity to talk more about Toastmasters and spread our the good word about our organization?
Well, what I'd recommend is, first of all, I go to their meeting. Okay, so if they're having a meeting, go attend their meeting. I would not try to go talk to. I'm in Rotary. I'm in there's 33,000 Rotary clubs. I'm in the 5th club formed. It's an iconic club. When I joined it, we had 487 members. We have about 300 now because all these clubs are coming down. It's one of the super clubs in Rotary. It's the Rotary Club of Los Angeles. There's no way in the world someone's going to really pay attention to it unless you come to the meeting and meet some people and shake some hands. So go to the meeting and talk to people, see where their interest is. The other thing is, what I would do approaching this is I would talk to the Rotary district groups. I would talk where you get several clubs. It's going to be, it's hard to get Rotarians to go join Toastmasters because they're two different games. But if you go promote Toastmasters and help Rotarians do a better job running their meeting, or help Kiwanians do a better job speaking, they're going to tell, it's a promotional action. They're going to tell their friends. Somebody's wife or somebody's husband's going to want to get involved in it. They need to develop it. You'll get some membership. You'll get some membership out of it, but we're not going to get a herd shift if all of Rotary joins Toastmasters. They're two completely different organizations with two completely different purposes and stuff, but we can help them. We can use them as a promotional action. At the same token, your Chamber of Commerces are a great resource, because I was on the board of my chamber here in Glendale for 5 years. We were always looking at ways to enhance the membership without the membership value without enhancing the membership cost. And if every 2 months you did a lunch and learn on how to do a presentation, or you did effective PowerPoints, or how to write a speech, or how to introduce a speaker, or proper lectern etiquette, all this stuff that we teach in Toastmasters. I can't tell you, even my Rotary Club, I watch my presidents and work with them, because a lot of times they will introduce a speaker and just walk off the stage, and then the speaker comes walking in, on their own. They don't stand up there and greet them and shake their hand and turn the lectern over to them, like we learn how to do in Toastmasters. Fundamental stuff like that really gives people a lot of confidence, and there's so much delivery that we can go out and do if we'll work with these other groups. But the point is deliver here's the simplicity is we work to make their group better, not to make our group better. And if we deliver a great product to them and make their group better, we will get members coming to our group.
Terry, you have a question?
Yes, hi, thank you. And I loved your last point about Chamber of Commerce and adding value. I have signed up to have a table at a local craft and home show to promote our club. And I wanted to ask if you had any advice on something I could do to attract folks to my table.
$100 bills would be the first thing I'd recommend. I'd probably second to that's chocolate chip cookies. But I don't know. I'd have to look at the specifics, see who the clientele is in the home show and see what's going on. I would have something to hand out, like cards or something. I'm trying to think if there was something that would make somebody choke, and you say, here, if you eat this, you'll choke. And it's like, I'm trying to think of something you would eat and you need a glass of milk or a cup of coffee to drink because it's so dry, and it's like, you can't work on it. But the biggest thing is to just, I think, be very outgoing and talk to people, come up with a series of questions on how to engage them. Do you know what Toastmasters is? Have you ever been to a meeting on it? how do you feel about public speaking? How do you feel? Would you like to be a bit more dynamic leader? Would that be something that is something, or better yet, do you know anybody? Maybe that's a better way. So it's not directly on them. I'm just curious, do you know anybody that's wanting to be a better speaker or leader in their life? So you're not asking them directly, and that's easier to engage in conversation with them from that standpoint. And they go, yeah, I know them really well. Because they look at themselves in the mirror every morning. Or they might say, yeah, my son just graduated from college and he's looking for a job right now. That would be something great for him to get involved in. Or, something, my neighbor, there was somebody at church, somebody just got a new job, they have a promotion they're struggling with. It gets them thinking on who would be good from that standpoint. And then have some good material for them to, like I said, we've got these are my speaking cards, but my 4x6 tips cards, have a nice card or something they can take with them, carry with them. And by the way, on my website, just promotion, I have free tips cards on speaking, on how to build a championship club, on speech evaluation, and on leadership that you can download for free. And it's just lancemillerspeaks.com. So if you want to pull those down, there's a lot of good hard data on those cards for you.
Thank you.
Are there any more questions for Lance?
Quiet group, boy.
They're shy.
Yeah, I can see they're a bunch of homebodies. Absolutely.
Yeah, they're shy. So. Oh, we got a couple more hands.
There we go.
Let's go with Ken.
Okay, unmuted. Yeah, thanks very much, Lance, for a great discussion tonight. And you've taught us a lot of things, I think, here. But I have a question for you that's very specific. What I've found in the short time that I've been with Toastmasters, and I found it in life in general, and I think you alluded to it, but I'd like you to talk to a little bit more about it. And that is, if you take a small club or even a medium-sized club, it's always the same few people that do 90% of the work. And there's a lot of people that just turn up and they don't get involved in the activity. And what do you do as an extra effort to try to turn those people around?
Good question. And we had that pretty extensively, especially in the early days of my club. You build a club culture, and the club culture is not built overnight. It took us probably 2 or 3 years to really get the culture established. A couple of things we set up right up front is when we wanted to turn the club around, we asked every member that we wanted them to complete a speaking level every year, which was 10 speeches. And not every member wanted to do that, but a number of them did. We wanted the points for our status in Toastmasters, and we got points for every CC, we got points for every advanced communicator. But what we started to realize is when they started speaking frequently, this was the surprise, their life started to change. And they started to get the twinkle in the eye and the spring in their step, and they got more confidence and they became more competent as an individual because they did the program. And that is the simplicity of, if you join a gym and you don't go to the gym and lift the weights, you're not going to get the benefit from the gym. So one of the things I recommend is, and so when we have people come in, we explain to them that the program is speaking, speech evaluation, coaching, meeting management, and leadership. And we expect you to participate in all of it. And that we want you to be, we make it fun. It's a fun environment to be in. But what happens is there's usually a core team set of leaders, and you have to make it easy for your volunteers to be involved. And then you have to validate and reward them. And if you've heard my world champion speech, it was about validation and validating what's right in people. And where I really developed that was in working with our club, because we built our club off of just phenomenal validation and reward. So let's say you have somebody, everybody's looking for that admiration in their life. They're looking for that fulfillment. And if they come and they're an all counter, and you as the president or just more senior member in the club walk over to him and did, wow, you did a great job as all counter today. That was really a great job. And they're going, I did? Wow. And all of a sudden they perk up a little bit. And the next time they're the timer, and you go, wow, man, I said, I was watching, you did a great job as timer on that. I think you're a great example for the younger members or something. And all of a sudden you start validating what you need. You'll start to get them to be more active, but also they'll start to reach for more stuff if they're getting positive feedback on it. So it's this little game that you play. And we built our club off of this. And then I started doing it in the workplace, and I completely changed the environments I was working in because I wasn't threatening people with to be furloughed. I was validating rightnesses instead of beating up on wrongnesses. And people started loving to come to work, and they had more enthusiasm for that. And from that standpoint, but you have to start to build your culture that Toastmasters is not sitting in a meeting. It's an active program. And everything we do, we learn in Toastmasters. When you're a speech evaluator, you're learning how to be a better speech evaluator. When you're a timer, you're learning about timing. When you're table topics master, you're learning how to come up with inquisitive questions and run part of the meeting. Everything is a learning experience that we do in Toastmasters. And I would just push that component on it. The other thing, as long as I'm pounding the drum here, is I would talk to them about their purpose for being in the club. The personal purpose the individual has is their motivation. It's their why. What's your purpose for being here? Maybe they don't have anything to do on Tuesday nights, and they've got poker, bridge, and bowling on the other nights of the week, and they just filling in Toastmasters because they don't have anything to do. And I'm being facetious with that, but there's a reason they're coming to that meeting. And also another purpose people usually have is they want to help other people. So if you can get them to help other people, it gives them more self-esteem, because we're as valuable in life as we help others. We're not as valuable as we receive. We're as valuable as we give. If you can get them to give to other people, to help the club, to help other people get more out of Toastmasters, they'll start to have more of an experience that they find the Toastmasters is valuable for. So that, just off the top of my head, those are some of the things that I would see you could do.
Thank you, Lance. Very helpful.
Thank you, Ken. We had another hand up. I thought Phil or someone I was looking for. Maybe.
Yeah, it went away. So why don't we go ahead and turn it back over to you? You can close up, tell us about your mailing list and some other programs that you have, and we'll let you finish up.
Okay, yeah, just on the Toastmasters, just so you know, I'm not trying to make a living off of Toastmasters or anything. All I'm trying to do is service, and I'm trying to contribute to the organization and help people get out of this program what I've gotten out of it. It changed my life dramatically, but I will also tell you, I picked up the ball and I ran with it. I ran with it in building the club. I did not build the club by myself. I did, and my club around the world is known as Lance Miller's Club, and my club ribs me on that all the time, because I have CDs and I put out on how to build championship clubs, and I've been all over the world talking about this, trying to help people get a better experience out of Toastmasters. It's not about being a world champion. It's about coming into a program that helps you champion what you want to do in life. And I did a spreadsheet. I did the math on this. In the next 50 years in Toastmasters, there's going to be 50 world champions. And you can cross-check my math on me if you like. But there's probably going to be 5 or 10 million people come through the organization. And what we have to do is have clubs that are dynamic leadership communication programs that help people find themselves, develop the skills they need to survive better in life, to prosper and succeed better in life. And that's what we're doing. We're helping people from that standpoint. On my website, I have the tips cards. I have training materials that you can download on promoting, marketing, building your club, speaking. Most of it's all downloadable now. I don't mail out very much. I also have a mailing list you can get on, which every week I send out a little video speaking tip. Right now, I may shift when I run out of speaking tips to leadership tips. I don't know what I do. And half the time I just talk about what I want to talk about, which is what's relevant to me at the time. But now I've got, I don't know, it's 35, 36 speaking tips right now. I'm going to get it up to 52. Then I'm going to figure out what I'm going to do after that. But I try to put something relevant out each week that you can sign up for if you like. And I'd love to have you on the list. I'd like to stay in touch with you. From that standpoint, those are the materials I have, and I've got a ton of other business stuff going on right now. So I'm glad that I can do these things on Zoom and don't have to fly all over the country and, stay in Holiday Inns anymore. So, Stephen, thank you for inviting me. It's great to see everybody. And we can really, I'll just tell you, part of my frustration is I saw in my club, I'm going to end it with this. How many people have ever been vice president of education? Okay, a lot of hands. Okay, a lot of hands. In May, here's what's happening usually. You're begging people in your club to finish a speaking level so you can get your points for your DCP, right? Here's what happened in my club when we were wanting to be a top 10 club. The members were calling the vice president of education saying, "You haven't given me enough speaking slots to finish my CC. I'm not going to be responsible for this club not being a top 10 club. you find me speaking slots. And we went to double meetings the second half of the year to get all the speakers, all the people through their educations. But we had the membership driving the leadership to be a top 10 club. By doing that, we changed hundreds of lives of people who came through our club. And we have all sorts of people. We have people who went out and became tour directors, changed their career. Somebody else has a podcast where somebody else got into management. We can change people's lives by bringing them into Toastmasters, but we have to have that dynamic club experience. And we have to have a group that's stable enough that people can come in and they can get out of their shell and they can become what they want. And that's why I said, to me, a strong club is 40 to 50 members, and Toastmasters, if we really build our clubs, we can help a lot of people live a lot better lives. And that's really what I'm trying to do, is help build clubs so we can help people live better lives. So thank you for having me on tonight. And it's great to see everyone back in District 63.
Lance, thank you so much for joining us. And
Yeah.
on behalf of our district trio, our district director, Stacy Thomas, program quality director, Marty Foster, and our club growth director, Kristen Phillips, on behalf of all the members of District 63 and our guests here this evening, thank you so much for giving this valuable information. I've been on Lance's mailing list for years, and I can tell you that getting those emails and getting those speaking tips have been invaluable. So please
Thank you.
check out his website. It is lancemillerspeaks.com. And he's got a bunch of freebies out there and some other things. I think you'll find some worthwhile stuff for you. So please do that. Real quick, next week, or the next few weeks, next week, we're going to be talking about hybrid meetings. So we've got Paul Arnold, Will Davenport coming in to talk about hybrid meetings. The following week, April 5th, we have the new Speechcraft with Dean Stacy and Don Biddick. On April 12th, I will be doing the Distinguished Club Plan and the Club Success Plan. So that's what we have coming up in the next few weeks. Please join us if you can. Stacy, anything real quick for the good of the district?
First of all, thank you, Lance, so much for doing this. We really appreciate it. We've got a ton of great ideas. We're going to start working on them this week. So thank you for that. We do have the spring conference coming up, and then we still need volunteers, and we still need talent if anyone's interested in volunteering your talent. We also have a vocal variety session coming up on May the 8th, so watch for that. Thank you, Stephen.
Thank you, Stacy. Marty, anything for the good of the district?
Lance, thanks again. That was great. I appreciate the enthusiasm. It is kind of weird, you know, we see the value that Toastmaster gives us. We see how it changes lives, but then we don't want to go talk about it, you know, and a Toastmaster shouldn't be reticent. But thanks again, Lance, and I'm sure a lot of people will bring these ideas back to the clubs.
Thank you, Marty. Kristen?
Again, I concur with both Stacy and Marty. Thank you so much, Lance, for all of the wisdom that you have given to us this week. Stacy and I were chatting earlier about implementing some of this stuff for next year and starting it right now, really. For the good of the district, we've got Rotary and Toastmasters. I know, Lance, you talked a little bit about Rotary, but we have got a very strong Rotary Club all around Tennessee. We've got members. I think that we've got 22, and we're chartering this week. I'm sending in the paperwork tonight.
Woo, congratulations.
Super excited about that. Yep.
All right. Thank you, Kristen.